left. I was telling Claire yesterday, and got into the car, left the house, went to the post office, and I was halfway there, and I just got that, you know, that warm feeling you get on a long weekend. You're going on a holiday. I was just so thrilled, you know, for the menial task of going to, was just out.
The
Got a
fact you were
break.
traveling 5 kilometers from home just got you excited that you
Exactly,
was on holiday, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, a great feeling then, a bit of a sad feeling then as well. That's the highlight of my week, you know. So it is, you know. But that's the joy of it. Well, Claire,
Hi.
yeah, how's it? And Wayne, hello Wayne, Molly,
Hi, hello.
how's everyone doing?
Yeah, good.
That's
Good to
great.
see you, Wayne.
You too, David.
Did David, you brought a cup of tea or coffee along? Did you say?
Listen, I have brought a cup of tea and I've watched a couple of these previous and I'd like to call you out. I mean, is there anything in your cup? I think it's merely a prop, I'll be honest with you.
That's only something you find out when we meet in person next, you know. And it won't be tea or coffee, I hope. But your look will. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Mr. Tate, good to see you, Chris.
I've got tea. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, tea for me.
There, that's good.
So
And,
JP, I'm all yours, sir. You want to take me down the route? You want to hear some things, or what happens next? I'm a newbie here.
Yeah, no, look, this for anyone that's not been on before. Like, this is just a break in the day for 5 or 10 minutes to say hello, you know, to collaborate together. And David, you and I often talk about, you know, the space we're all in, and the importance of collaboration and learning and community. And you do a tremendous job in that space, David, with obviously the wider team. It would be good to learn a little bit more for anyone that doesn't know, you know, how you look at that sort of collaboration, David. But maybe with the backdrop of obviously COVID and looking into this year as well, what are the key things you're looking at? And before you jump in, let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way here. And you have the Six Nations starting this weekend. Look at this. That's great. And we all just want to know how we're going to hold back the rampant English team from another success.
You sold this to me as a Six Nations preview, I seem to recall. And
Yeah.
You've got the WhatsApp thing going around at the moment, haven't you? Which is they're all cheering England. You've got all the Welsh and all the Irish guys, all the Scottish guys in England. And the question is, you know, who do you want to lose? And,
okay.
I guess we're used to that, right? So yeah, I guess, you know, we're normally favourites and therefore normally there to be hit at. And right now, the Irish guys, you guys aren't quite as good as you used to be, right? You're going through
and we've Paul
transition.
And all of that.
I guess I should be quietly confident without wishing to alienate my audience and upset this weekend the Scots. And I'll save a one-liner until the end on that. But yeah, there you go.
Okay,
so,
that's great.
Community, which again, community ties into rugby, right? There's you know, it's that strong ethos, that bond, that sort of stuff. And, you know, the guys that have played rugby and girls, you know, typically you build friendships and things for life there. So I'm fortunate, for those that don't know, that I head the network group community here in the UK. I've been in and around the network group for many a year, but we are exactly that, a community, a gang. We have, you know, going towards 100 technology service providers within the group. And we work with preferred partners and we help the greater good go forward. You know, Chris Tate's been in and around network group for quite a number of years as well, in different seats around that place. And we're a great place to bring people together. And that's, you know, really, really important. And I guess, you know, the past 12 months, never more so. Wayne, you sat on a call with us and your network community yesterday. So for the past year, just as the world started going crazy, I was in, was I speaking at Cloud Expo or something like that on a sales panel with Fiona Chalice. It was mid-March. And all of a sudden, this COVID thing was getting a bit real. 2 weeks later, that Excel Centre was the Nightingale Hospital or whatever it was. Oh. And, you know, ever since then, we called our community together and we spoke about the need to, grab your money was kind of my message at the time. It was, just be a bit careful. Never been easier to sell a laptop or 5 million of them if you could get them, but make sure you was going to be paid. And but ever since then, as a community, we've come together weekly to just talk about sort of burning issues, challenges, and yeah, it's been really important and a good, I guess, a good offload, a bit like this, right? Just a chance
Yeah.
to check in and to sanity check things.
Yeah, yeah. When you think about the next few months, David, like what are the main challenges as you look across the community? And I like I'll open it up a little bit, like, and anyone else wants to jump in, but you know, we joke about it living in Zoom, but wellness as well, and getting a break, and you know how difficult it is for particularly MSPs as they link with their customers who themselves are worried about keeping the lights on. I mean, what are the main obstacles in your mind?
Yeah, well, again, if you look back at the past year, I think these guys out there, you know, these technology service providers done a great job. They have been, you know, working all sorts of hours, first to get everyone working from home or from anywhere, and then thinking, oh, let's get them secure because we've just done it quickly. Now let's make it secure and right. So they've been through this process, and quite often maybe they have or haven't charged for that sort of stuff, and there's then been that revisit. How does that really work? Because again, I had a customer with of one site with 10, 20 people, whatever it was. That's now a customer with 20 people across 20 sites, and so there's a whole amount of work that goes to that. And it's again, how do you revisit that, and how do you make that work and be fair? So I think the pressures are still there around that piece. I think we're expected to do more with less, potentially, hopefully not for less. But there's a good saying I heard the other week. I think it was Tracy Pound, but she said 2021 will be not the survival of the fittest, but survival of the fairest. And I'd like to think that, you know, the work that these MSPs are doing and that have done the past 12 months, which I think has been above and beyond typically, they'll be rewarded for that, they'll be looked after. I think that, I guess the thing that I see, that again, I remind the group, I did this on Thursday, yesterday, was now's another good time to, I guess, do a bit of a sanity check, a bit of a check of who your customers are or who your customers' customers are. Let's do a risk assessment, because let's not do politics, right? But let's just say the government's not been too bad with financial support. Okay, there might be some industries that have been missed, and some people have missed out. My wife runs a hospitality company, not the best time to be in hospitality, but on the whole, I think they've done a pretty good job financially.
Right.
But what we've done is kick the tin can down the road a couple of times in terms of reality. And so at some point that reality bites. We stop the furlough schemes, the initiatives are pulled. And what does that really mean? At that point, business, I'm guessing, will contract somewhat. So now's a great time, if you run a technology business, to look at your customers and then think beyond your customers, but who are your customers' customers? What is the risk to that? What does that really look like? So I think we need to be prepared for that, to potentially be supporting less endpoints, I think.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like the fairness, I love that. Definitely the survivor of the fairness. But when you look at the vendor relationships with MSPs over the last number of years, and like how has that changed, or how will it change, David, in that respect, and that collaboration piece we all talk about? You know, Chris, you and I were chatting about that before as well, but where has it gone, David, over the last number of years, that vendor relationship with MSPs and the community?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Listen, the MSPs, the channel's really, really important, right? I would say that's where I sit, but I think the vendors get that and they know they need it. The reality is that typically they're small business technology companies, and it's how you herd those cats. And that's where Network Group does a great job, because we herd cats together. We make it easier for vendors to engage in a one-to-many relationship. That's cost effective. But I guess what we will have seen the past 12 months from a marketing point of view, marketing guys are going, hang on, we've made this work and we've spent less money. We're not traveling all over to these events and stuff. So I think there will be a change around that. I've attended a virtual exhibition. I've exhibited at a virtual exhibition. It was rubbish. You know, because what happens at a real exhibition is that you come out of the event, you come out of the meeting room, and maybe you see some stands across there. But typically you make a phone call, you grab a coffee. But in a physical world, you might say, oh, it's Chris over there. I'll go have a word with Chris. Or I might see a different flag or banner. I'm like, oh, who are those guys? And go and have a chat. In the virtual world, you don't get the footfall. You know, it's really, really challenging. So I think vendors will be considering what that looks like going forward, because they're probably having some great success. It's been the best year ever for many vendors in this space, right? So that probably changes things going forward. Again, we're fortunate because we have a great audience that come together. We've had the challenge of, we normally hold 4 physical meetings a year. in a pre and I'm sure a post-COVID world, we bring our community together and we allow this platform to engage. So we've had the challenge of moving that virtual, and that was a worry, but I'm pleased to say, because of a great team, we've done that really successfully. And so for those vendors who know us and engage, they're still part of that and look forward, hopefully the time we're back at the bar, but it's working for us so far.
Well, I noticed there you crossed Cheltenham off your list in March. You're doing some event there. What's that?
Yeah, so again, with our virtual events, we run a summer festival last year. We had a gala and awards in November, and I can think of a few things more boring than online awards, right? So we tried to twist that up. We had a murder mystery around red carpet revenge, a themed thing, which went successful. And then in March, we are having an event which is an at the races type event. It's on the day of the Cheltenham Gold Cup, or as they now call it, the COVID spreading cup. I think it was from last year. Those good Irish people that were spreading that COVID stuff, whatever that we hear. So yeah, we're running that event, and it is a series of events across that week where we'll be engaging with our partners and education pieces with our members and best practice, and having a bit of fun too.
That's brilliant. That's what it's all about. A little bit of a fun and take it easy. David, look, we're probably going to wrap up shortly, and I want to sort of thank you and thanks for jumping on. The Molly, how's things?
Hello. Yes, good.
Where are you based, Molly?
Pardon?
Where are you based?
So I work for 4D in Byfleet. I don't know if you've heard it, South London.
Good.
Yeah. We're a data center company, but we're working on our channel partnership relationships through 2021. So I just wanted to find a bit more about the industry and listen to you guys.
Well, you're very welcome, and thanks for popping on, Molly. It's great to see you. Great to see you. Chris, good to see you back again. And
which Chris are we talking about now? There's a lot of Chris's on the call.
There's only one Chris in my mind there. Chris Tate, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Good. I thought that was really interesting, actually. I was going to jump in what David was saying, but I think that the advantage of something like the network group, and this is where the channel's been a little bit different this year, but the advantage of the network group is it's a kind of confined, self-contained, trying to think of the right term, but bunch of members. So an event for network group, you kind of do it and they know each other and you know where they all are. So I think those events virtually probably do work quite well. Yeah. But I think from a vendor point of view, the challenge that we've had is we can do Zooms, we can do sort of things like this, but we're only meeting people by and large that we already know that have been invited or something like that. Whereas at an event, if you go to an event which isn't a peer group, isn't a network group kind of thing, more of an open event, the chances are you're going to make those interactions and have the conversations with people that you might see them in the room and think, I'll go and chat to them, or you'll stand next to them at the bar or sit next to them at dinner and start the conversations. And that's the bit that's been really difficult to replicate virtually, because it's very good at connecting with people you already know. I think it's a great way of everyone keeping in touch in this kind of check-in, but it's more difficult to connect with people that you don't yet know and create new relationships. So I think that's why vendors, I think that they will probably think a little bit more about events going forward in terms of where they spend the money. But I do think that I think there's definitely a place for kind of physical events and sort of face-to-face networking that will come back pretty quickly.
I know. Jimmy Hassel is part of the Scout team. Jimmy, you've been looking at that closely.
Yeah, I've been definitely following. Not exactly sure what's going to happen though.
Yeah, and
you've just done a, sorry to interrupt there, but you've just done an event, right, James? You've just done a
So we did one where I'm actually in one right now, which goes back to David's point of it's not the same as in person. I'm literally working a booth in an event, another tab here. But yeah, we did one with Channel Pro the other day, which was fun. It was nice. It was on the Halpin platform, getting used to all these different platforms. And then we were on one with the Robbins group today and yesterday, and they have their own platform. So it's interesting jumping around all these differences. This is actually the first hybrid one we've been on. So this event actually has some people in person who are there, and some people who are remote, and we are of the minority vendors who are remote only. So it's interesting to see how things are going to shape up.
Yeah. And David,
I was going to say, do you guys think that shows are going to open up this year? They're going to run those typical physical events they do out in North America and other places, or what's your views on that out of interest?
I mean, I have big opinions on it, honestly. I think that small groups are going to continue to happen as they are now in the States, especially in the South where there's less COVID restrictions. I don't think events are coming back it's not going to be like, oh, events are back. But I am bullish that by the end of the year, there's usually that big IT Nation event in Florida, that things will come back in a big way for that event. But again, that's not till November. So coming into this year, lots of people were like, oh, February, March, everything will be back, the vaccine, blah, 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 but been following it. There's been the mutations, there's been all this stuff. Like we need at least 50, 60, 75% vaccination rates before we can have any sort of big events the way that we did before. Yeah. And that just isn't happening fast enough. So we'll see. I mean, I'm hopeful by the end of the year, but I think we're evaluating quarter by quarter. So we'll see.
And David, I think that's where the strength of the network group comes in as well, because the need doesn't go away. The need to collaborate, partner, support, MSPs supporting each other, and that's where we just think it's great work that's happening there. And before we finish up, and Jimmy, can't let you off the hook, or Jared, we started about Six Nations. So that's a sporting event happening here, and I think even people who aren't interested in rugby are interested because just something going on. So the Super Bowl is this week, I think, is it? Yeah. Jared, Jimmy? Yeah, and you have Tom Brady and all of that.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Andy Reid, the coach of the Chiefs. So I'm hoping that he gets the win. But it's amazing to see Tom Brady still in the Super Bowl. It aggravates me a little bit because I'm not a big Tom Brady fan. But you got to appreciate greatness when you see it.
Well,
just knows how to win.
Hope for us all. David, thank you very much. I hope you have a great weekend, and everyone on the call. Again, we'll wrap it up. Be great. Everyone that's here, pop in next week, say hello as well, and we'll keep the conversation going. And have a safe weekend.
Thanks for having me, guys. See you later.
Thanks,
Good weekend.
Thank you.
See you, everyone.